بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اللهم صل على سيدنا ونبينا ومولانا محمد وبارك وسلم لا إله إلا الله. We are on Surah Nuh alayhi salam, Surah number 71 and ayah number 4. Nuh alayhi salam, his story we mentioned last week, goes to his people and he starts this incredible journey and mission of inviting his people who were scattered throughout the world, and he spoke to them about his mission, his message from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He says, قَالَ يَا قَوْمِ إِنِّي لَكُمْ نَذِيرٌ مُبِينٌ. He said, "O my people, I belong to you, you belong to me. We have this affinity and bonding of being part of the same people. We speak the same language, we have the same culture, we eat the same food, and we dress the same way, and we believe in values that are common." So he says, first of all, to develop a bonding affinity with his people, he addresses them that way by saying, "Ya qawmi, O my people, you know me, I know you. And you know that I would not lie. Inni lakum nadhiru mubin. I am to you an open warner. Through my credibility with you, I'm asking you to trust me and my message. And my message is that if you do not give up your idol worshipping, I am warning you from Allah as an ambassador of Allah, as a representative of Allah, that things will happen to you which you will not be happy with. So I'm warning you, and an open warning, mubin, clear warning. Okay. There's nothing enigmatic about it. There's nothing mystical about it. There's nothing esoteric about it. It is plain and obvious what I am saying. And what I am saying is, Ani'budullah, worship only Allah. Don't worship anyone besides Allah. Wattaquh, fear Him. Wati'uni, and follow me in matters of worship, in matters of salvation, in matters of your consequences in this world and in the next world. Okay. Give up your temptations, your desires, give up your myths, and worship only Allah. So he calls them towards Tawheed, monotheism. So there, it wasn't that they didn't believe in God, they believed in too many. So you have atheism, where you don't believe in God, and you have polytheism, where you believe in more than one, and then you have this monotheism, which is the belief in one. So Nuh alayhi salam is saying to his people that yes, you do believe in higher powers and divine authorities, but those divine authorities are one. They are not many. And I'm asking you to worship only one. And then wattaquhu, and fear Him, respect Him, honor Him, because then He will help you. And then, since I am a messenger of His, you must follow me. You must obey me in matters of religious practice and religious values and matters of your salvation. So this is how Nuh alayhi salam addresses his people that you are part of me, I'm part of you. Okay, so that is as far as the what do you call it, message that Allah gives through Nuh alayhi salam. Then Nuh alayhi salam expands further on the benefits of doing this. The first is يَغْفِرُ لَكُم مِّن ذُنُوبِكُم. He will forgive you of your sins. That you have many sins, and Allah will overlook those sins and forgive you. He will not hold you responsible. He will not hold you accountable, and He will not punish you if you do this. This is how Allah subhanahu is merciful. He has the rahmah. He is compassionate. He cares for you. If you simply do this, obey me and fear Allah and worship Him, He will take care of the rest of your lives in this world and also in the next world. وَيُؤَخِّرُكُمْ إِلَىٰ أَجَلٍ مُّسَمًّى. And He will delay your lives for an appointed term. Obviously, this part of the ayah has been a concern for Mufassirun, and they've expanded on it, that Allah's ajal, Allah's time, Allah's term, as you see, is it fixed or is it not fixed? This seems to suggest that it is not absolutely fixed. Okay, so they go into the detail and they say there are two levels of what you call it, terms of life, which you might call destiny. It's not what you call destiny, but it's fine. Just for functional purposes, we can call it destiny. Okay. Taqdeer, ajal, a fixed time. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He gives mandates to angels. And He does not give them the final time of a person's death. That is called mu'allaq, suspended mandate. And there's another amar, hukum, mandate that He keeps for Himself. That is called mubram. That is called fixed, determined, absolute, final. So the mubram mandate Allah keeps to Himself, and Allah gives a mandate to the guiding angels, the angels who manage Allah's affairs. فَالْمُدَبِّرَاتِ أَمْرًا, those who have tadbir, and they plan and organize things, events in the world. So sometimes they won't receive the final mandate. It will be suspended, mu'allaq. And only Allah has knowledge of the final mandate. So Nuh alayhi salam is saying that in the world of tadbir, planning, organizing through the celestial beings and the heavenly mandate, knowledge of the angels is such that your mandate with the angels can be delayed and your life can be prolonged if you worship Allah, if you make tawbah, istighfar, if you are kind to your parents, if you fulfill the rights and duties of your relatives. The Prophet ﷺ said, you will have a longer life. But longer in the knowledge of the angels, not longer in Allah's knowledge. Allah's knowledge is final, conclusive. So sometimes He will share that with angels and sometimes He will not. The only angel whom He gives this knowledge to is Malakul Maut. That He will assign Malakul Maut and tell Malakul Maut, I want you to take out this person's ruh at this time in this place. And the other angels won't know. They'll arrange and govern and everything. They may even create scenarios for an illness or an accident. And then the person will not die. So people will say, Allah saved him from death. Because in terms of how the world works, he should have died. But he didn't die. So there the Prophet ﷺ says that a dua, good deeds, they are capable of prolonging a person's life, which is in the mandate of the angels, not in Allah's knowledge. So that's what he's saying here. That if you do these good deeds and you make tawbah and you fear Allah and you obey the Rasul, then Allah will not give the mandate to the angels to take your life. So he spares you, gives you more time. Okay? So there are two types. One is mubarab, which is final and conclusive, and one is mu'allaq, which is suspended. So the Prophet ﷺ spoke about both, the suspended and the final one. So this is إِذَا جَاءَ إِذْ أَجَرَ اللَّهِ إِذَا جَاءَ لَا يُؤَخَّرُ. So when Allah's ajal comes, it will never be delayed. Which ajal? The one that is absolute. Okay. Not the one that is mu'allaq or suspended. لَوْ كُنْتُمْ تَعْلَمُونَ. If only you knew how things in the celestial world works. You have knowledge maybe how things on the ground work, but you don't know how angels work and how angels arrange and manipulate events in the world and also in the heavens. So if only you knew this, but you don't know. So then if you don't know, you have to listen to those people who do know. So all Anbiya, alayhi salam, all prophets are given knowledge of how angels work, govern, plan, and execute. It's called the mulk. Malakut as-samawati wal-ard. The malakut, how the heavens work and how they operate. It's a different ilm altogether, which can only be received by wahi. It cannot be received by human experience or epistemology or any other means except through Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving you that knowledge which came only to the Anbiya through wahi. So this Nuh alayhi salam is now a formidable lecturer. You can see how he's articulating these heavenly celestial positions in front of people who now are supposed to be helping him because he's from their tribe, he's from their people, he speaks their language, he knows their culture. He is part of them, he's lived with them, he was born and raised in them. So now he's addressing this. So you see now some of the rules of Nabuwah are being highlighted in this surah, and we should learn from them. Sometimes if you want to, attract people to a better life, then you have to give them what's the better life. Okay. So the better life is a life that is full of salvation, rahmah, maghfirah, and forgiveness, not some of retribution, calamity, and disaster. So that's what Nuh alayhi is laying down the foundation for people to have a more serious look into their lives and into the consequences of their lives, to get serious with life and so on. قال رب إني دعوت قومي ليلا ونهارا. Then he's pleading to Allah that Allah, I've tried everything I could try within my human means, meaning cause and effect. So prophets, they do everything based on cause and effect. They don't expect miracles all the time. They will follow the human convention of cause and effect. This does this, this results in this, this is the result of this. So they'll follow that convention. They're not superhuman, and they don't rely on Allah's superhuman abilities to do the work for them. They'll go through the mill, they'll go through the struggle, they'll go through life as an ordinary human being. So as an ordinary human being, Nuh alayhi salam is laying down all the means, methods, conventions that he is able to use. And we should do the same when we are talking about reforming the ummah and helping family members and friends and others to come back to Islam. We should apply the same adab, the same etiquette, the same rules as Nuh alayhi salam. So he says, Ya Rabbi, what do you got? Inni da'awta qawmi laylan wa nahara. I'm calling my people layl in the night and in the day. I don't spare any moment in which I'm not giving da'wah. Da'awtu means verbal, oral calling, invitation. They didn't have a printing press. They didn't have emails and WhatsApp. They didn't have social media. So he had to use the means available to him without whining. So the only way I can now do this is if I go personally to people and advise them and call them, invite them to Islam and the Akhirah. And the time didn't matter to them. If anyone was available at night, I would go at night. And if people were not available at night, I will source them in the day, layla wa nahar. Meaning I will do everything within my means, within the human convention, to fulfill your order, to obey your command, because the Nabi is the first one to obey the command of Allah. As the Anbiya, the Anbiya used to say, I'm the first of Muslims. I'm the first one to obey your command, which obviously is the norm for people who are calling people towards Allah and the Rasul, that they will practice what they preach. So Nuh alayhi salam is now pleading in front of Allah that I'm doing all this and you see me doing all this, giving da'wah, verbal da'wah, oral da'wah, talking to people, advising them, trying to persuade them and convince them at night and also in the day. I spare no time. Layla wa nahar. So that's the first method. فَلَمْ يَزِدْهُمْ دُعَائِي إِلَّا فِرَارًا. Unfortunately, the result of this is that the only thing that happens to these people when I call them is that they run away from me. Nothing increases in them except that they are repulsed and they become repulsive and they run away from me. So there's total rejection. So they're not amused, they're not happy, they're not persuaded, they are not influenced by anything I say. And it's the opposite effect. Right? So there's a cause that da'wah brings people to come to Allah, and there's the effect that Allah brings, and that is people run away from you. Yeah, it's another message for the reformers. That just because you're giving someone dawah doesn't mean to say they have to listen. They don't have to listen. They have their own minds. They have their own conscience and they have their own, what do you call it, volition and ego. They will do what they want to do. Your job is to convey the message. Your job is not to convert. If you remove that from your portfolio, you'll be a much happier person. When you do try to reform, you don't look at the result and the consequence. You look at your effort. Am I doing the right effort? Nuh alayhi salam is pleading to Allah. It seems to me I'm doing the right effort. I'm following the rules of Nabuwah and the rules of Dawah, and I'm doing this, this, and that. But at the moment, the only result I see is that they run away. Illa firara. They are averse to me and my message and all of that. So that's the second point he mentioned. The third one, وَإِنِّي كُلَّمَا دَعَوْتُهُمْ لِتَغْفِرَ لَهُمْ جَعَلُوا أَصَابِعَهُمْ فِي آذَانِهِمْ. Every time I call them so that they may be forgiven, or that you may forgive them. I don't say I'll forgive you. I say Allah will forgive you. So I put all the onus and trust in you, and I make you responsible for their salvation and for their forgiveness. But even after doing this, what do? They put their fingers in their ears so they don't have to hear what I'm saying. The absolute rejection. Obviously mockingly and deridingly, scoffing at Nuh, that this is what you are causing. We don't want to listen to you. We don't want to hear your sound and your voice. We are totally nauseated by whatever it is you're trying to tell us. And we don't want to listen. We don't want to hear. This is an effect which has dire, obviously, consequences in the one giving dawah. You can imagine how low Nuh alayhi salam felt. He's a human being. So you mustn't believe that he was a superhuman being. And somehow he didn't care whether they accepted or they rejected. No, 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 no. Allah keeps the Anbiya human so that they feel the pain that every human being feels. They don't become immune to the pain and the emotion. They feel it, that they're being rejected. They go through the pain and they go through the suffering that all human beings will go through. So this is normal. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala develops now the soul, the ruh, and the aql of the Nabi to keep on going despite feeling at a very low ebb, despite feeling very pessimistic, despite feeling very, what do you call it, negative, despite feeling despondent, and despite feeling as if they're losing the game and they've lost the battle. And so it's a human emotion. That's the result that is created in the mind and the heart of the Nabi. He's a human being. He's not a machine. It's not that people put in a coin and then nothing comes out. You reject a human being, he's going to be sad. He's going to be disappointed. He's going to cry. He's going to feel as if he's not doing anything that is correct. And so you have to internalize the feeling of Nuh alayhi salam, that every time I do give da'wah, this happens. I'm rejected and rejected. So now I come home depressed and depressed and depressed. But he has to manage that. He has to carry the burden of the rejection as a normal human being in flesh and blood. Don't assume he's superhuman. He feels it like any other human being does. قُلْ إِنَّمَا أَنَا بَشَرٌ مِثْلُكُمْ. I'm a bashar like you. I feel the highs and lows, the disappointments, the anguish, and everything else. And I said, so now these people, they mockingly put their fingers in their ears to show him, we don't want to hear your voice. You are nothing to us. Yeah. So you can imagine what he went through when he saw this. وَاسْتَغْشَوْا ثِيَابَهُمْ. And they gathered their garments closely to them as if they didn't want to be, polluted by his germs. You're not worth being next to. We don't want your company. And so on. And they became more stubborn and they continued in their rebellion. وَاسْتَكْبَرُوا اسْتِكْبَارًا. And they showed tremendous arrogance. Tremendous arrogance. So you can see how this is impact in Nuh alayhi salam. So for someone to have that level of tolerance and resistance in itself is a mu'jiza. The mu'jiza of the Anbiya is to tolerate rejection, is to take control of disappointment, and to manage failure. That's their mu'jiza. The akhlaq. وَإِنَّكَ لَعَلَى خُلُقٍ عَظِيمٍ, as you saw with the Prophet. So they're able to climb this humongous mountain, Everest, of emotion, and keep that, intensity going with stamina and resistance and tawakkul and trust and love for Allah and dedication to the mission. That is what you must see in the Sūrah of the Anbiya, rather than the flood and the ship and the ark. That's a mu'jiza. But this is a bigger mu'jiza, that you don't drown in the arrogance of people and their rejection. You calm yourself. So that's وَضَعْنَا عَنْكَ وِزْرَكَ الَّذِي أَنْقَضَ ظَهْرَكَ, that we remove the burden that is on you, the burden of Nabuwa and Risala, and conveying the message, the one that broke your back. Allah is saying to the Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam that this Nabuwa has broken your back. أَنْقَضَ ظَهْرَكَ. He's saying this to the best Rasul. And this is not just debilitating. It is now weakening you. You're not able to withhold and withstand all of this pressure that is on you. Then Allah gave you Sharh al-Sadr. So that is now the mu'jiza of the Nabi, is to able to tolerate all the injustices levied against him. That's the amount of stamina, determination that you need as a Nabi. If you want to do the work of Nabuwah, you have to follow this guideline of accepting rejection. If you don't, then you're not fit for it. You shouldn't be doing it. If you can't tolerate rejection, don't do any Muslim work. You'll fail, and you'll fail miserably. And everybody will hate you, and they shouldn't. And you'll start hating yourself. And then you'll start hating Islam. Enough of this. You'll give up. But the Nabi can't give up. The Nabi has to go all the way. So even though people are treating him with rejection, and this is going on for years and decades, by the way. This is continuous. He has a long life, as you know. So for decades, decades, and decades, this is the norm for human beings and human society. And you have to remember, he's going everywhere where there is humanity. He's not stuck in one town or city. He's going everywhere. Wherever there's humanity, he's going everywhere to talk to different people, different settings, different climates, different geography, different topography, everything, different norms and customs. He's going, and everywhere he goes, he's rejected. Can you imagine the pain he's going through? So you must see the human side of the Nabi. Then you'll understand who the Nabi is. What we do, we detach the Nabi from the humanness. And that's why the ayah in the Quran is so incredible. قُلْ إِنَّمَا أَنَا بَشَرٌ. Say, I am a bashar. Appreciate that I am human. And when I'm rejected and, slandered and accused and backbitten and rejected, I feel the pain of every human being. I feel it. I do become sentimental. And I do become sad. And I feel all this. So this is why Nuh alayhi salam is saying that this, now they show tremendous arrogance. وَاسْتَكْبَرُوا اسْتِكْبَارًا. And then he said, it doesn't stop there. He said, okay, this was, I'm now giving dawah at a personal level. Then I decided maybe that's not the way. I decided to give dawah at a communal level. ثُمَّ إِنِّي دَعَوْتُهُمْ جِهَارًا. Then I gave them dawah openly, jihar, announced it in public squares and meetings and town halls, and everywhere there was a public gathering, I went there too, and I gave dawah. And then I also went and gave dawah in private meetings. وَأَسْرَرْتُ لَهُمْ إِسْرًا. Yeah, I confided in them. So those I gave public dawah to, and those I gave private dawah to, they both rejected me. So he spared no stone to give dawah and to fulfill the mission and the mandate of Allah. So supreme human being, Nuh alayhi salam. You talk about formidability and passion and himma, determination and commitment to the task. He's an absolute soldier. He's a doer. He didn't shy away from work. But you can see how much work he did. A lot of work for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that's the beauty of the surah. And then he says that even then I did not ask Allah to punish them. I didn't say anything. In fact, I said, ثُمَّ إِنِّي فَقُلْتُ اسْتَغْفِرُوا رَبَّكُمْ. Then I said, you must seek forgiveness from your Lord. Because at that time, a few decades into his mission, people were kind of stricken with drought. Wow. And women became barren. They lost their rain, and because they lost their rain, they lost their crops, and because they lost their crops, they lost their livestock, animals, and because of that, the women became barren and there were no children. So they lost their communities. So, this was us, a warning. Allah sends warnings to people. So a few decades, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did this. So Nuh alayhi salam did say that, oh yeah, there's Allah punishing you, I told you so. He said, no, I'll give you a formula that can help you in this crisis. Istaghfiru rabbakum, seek forgiveness from your Lord. Innahu kana ghaffara, because he is extremely forgiving. He's giving them hope after they have decimated him, pulverized him, offended him, insulted him, mocked him, scorned at him. He still gives them a solution. He still gives them hope. He doesn't write them off as losers and say, yeah, you deserve this, and I hope you get more. It doesn't go that way. So he controls himself and he controls his passion and his desires. No, I have to lead these people towards Allah's rahmah, Allah's followers. And now the way to do that is istighfar. What are the benefits of istighfar? Nuh alayhi salam mentions in his words the benefits of istighfar, the mundane worldly benefits of seeking forgiveness from Allah. Number one, yursilis sama alaykum midra. He will send the heavens upon you in abundance of water. He will make it rain for you. Meaning that if there's a drought, one of the best formulae for bringing rain down from the heavens is istighfar. Saying astaghfirullah. Allah forgive me, forgive my sins. Allah forgive me. Otherwise known in Islam as istisqa. Abu Hanifa's mother is that istisqa is a dua. It's not a salat. Based on this ayah. So istisqa, seeking water from Allah. Subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah, you're the one that sends down rain. Yeah. أفرأيتم الماء الذي تشربون أأنتم أنزلتموه من المزن أم نحن المنزلون. Do you not see the water that is sent down to you? Is it us that sends down water from the clouds? Or is it you? It's Allah. So Nuh alayhi salam is now giving people a formula that is conclusive, tried and tested in humanity. Seek forgiveness from your Lord. If you do that, He will reciprocate. Right? He will answer. He won't judge you by saying you are fools and fusaq and kuffar. He'll just give you the rain because that's who He is. يُرْسِلِ السَّمَاءَ عَلَيْكُمْ مِدْرَارًا. He will give you rain, midrara, in total abundance. Plenty of rain. And the rain will come onto the mountains, onto the hills, and it will fill the ravines, and it will fill your you call it, streams and brooks and rivers, and you'll have abundance of vegetation and trees, and you'll have animals starting eating, and you'll be able to raise animals, and you'll have food, you'll have vegetation, vegetables, fruits, you'll have a good life. If you say astaghfirullah as a group in front of Allah, make dua to Allah, petition Allah, and then Allah will help you as a community, not as an individual. It is a communal effort, a communal dua that you must do to please Allah. That's the first benefit. Now you'll get rain. And then the second, وَيُمْدِدْكُمْ بِأَمْوَالٍ وَبَنِينَ. And He will strengthen you and help you with wealth and also with children who are strong and healthy, and they can help you. And they can be your strong people building the community, building society. This is your manpower in your families and in your community. The second benefit, the Nuh alayhi salam, istighfar is such a huge key to unlocking the barakat of the heavens. If you all turn the key and that door opens, Allah will then rescue you with plenty of livestock and money and fruits and vegetables that you can sell and barter and trade, and you'll have enough children to help you with your population and the manpower and the human resources needed to build your community and your civilization. So Nuh alayhi salam is now the perfect encourager, where he's showing people the mundane benefits of spiritual ruhani exercises. That is what a Nabi does, because a Nabi is a Nadhir and a Bashir. He gives now warnings and he also gives glad tidings. You have to do both. So he's giving glad tidings. So if you do this, this will happen. This is how the malakut and the heavenly beings work. You don't know how they work because that knowledge only comes from wahi. I've been given knowledge of how that heavenly work is done through wahi, and I'm sharing that with you. Okay, so this is the power of wahi and knowledge gained by wahi, that it helps you build a much better community, society, and civilization. That's the second benefit. Now the third one. وَيَجْعَلْ لَكُمْ جَنَّاتٍ وَيَجْعَلْ لَكُمْ أَنْهَارًا. He will make for you gardens and groves, and you'll have forests of just now good food and rizq from Allah. And then He will create for you many other rivers, so you'll have a reservoir of water wherever you are. وَيَجْعَلْ لَكُمْ أَنْهَارًا. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala through his immense fadl, rahmah and maghfirah, will reward people who turn to him and you ask him for help and madad. That's who Allah is. Allah won't desert you if you call him, because he is mustajib al-da'wat. He answers calls. And Nuh alayhi salam is saying that you are in severe drought, you don't have children, and if you want this to change, I'll give you the keys, that if you use those keys to open the doors of barakat from the heavens, these will be the barakat that literally shower upon you from the heavens. But that's the Nuh alayhi salam that is represented in the Quran by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. A man of tremendous stamina, strength, resolve, resilience, and also tremendously generous, kind and compassionate to people at the same time. مَا لَكُمْ لَا تَرْجُونَ لِلَّهِ وَقَارًا. What is with you that you don't hope for any reverence and position with Allah, status with Allah? I mean, if you worship Allah, He will raise your ranks in the dunya. He will give you honor and prestige. But more than that, He will honor you by allowing you to go to Jannah, where you will be king of Jannah. Yeah. He is this way. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is someone that you can always turn to, always hope for the best things. But those best things will come to you after you die. Maybe not necessarily. So you have to wait a bit. وَقَدْ خَلَقَكُمْ أَطْوَارًا. How can you not see this when He has created you in phases and in stages? Look at how He's created you. He created you from a drop, and then you were there in your mother's womb. In your mother's womb, you were created in phases, in steps, one after the other. And then you came out, and when you came out, you weren't jumping up and down like an adolescent, climbing trees and doing this. You were an infant. You had to go through the phase of infancy and drink your mother's milk. And after that, you had to go through childhood. And after that, you had to go through the pain of, adolescence, and then adulthood, and then maturity, and then old age. Look, atwar phases. Just look into your own physical life, and you will see that things take time to develop and mature. Likewise, in the scheme of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it takes time for you to develop and mature. So you'll have one maturity in this world, you'll have another sense of maturity in the barzakh, you'll have another sense of development in the mahshar, then you'll have your final stage of development and completion in Jannah. So these are atwar. These are what phases of human existence in every which way. So Nuh alayhi salam is now taking them through a very observational system of thinking and reflecting. It is super intellectual, this conversation. Now look at you. Yeah, look at how Allah creates things on earth. They just don't come up just because they come up and so on. They go through phases, stages of development, which is the meaning of tarbiyah. Allah is your Rabb. He develops things gradually over time. That's the meaning of a Rabb. One who develops things to their perfection. Tadrijan, in phases, in time. So sometimes it might be for you is a whole 50, 60 years of change and development and evolving and transformation, all this. It's not done as soon as you're born. And even when you are conceived, you're not delivered as soon as you're conceived. Even there it takes 10 months. So just think about how things happen in the world, how Allah creates things in the world. Then you'll take a step back and say, okay, wait a minute, I got to relax here. I got to take it easy. I can't expect a drive-through service in human perfection. It's not going to happen. It goes through life, and life is over 70, 80 years. You have to wait as a human being. So this is what Nuh alayhi salam is telling his people, that if you want Allah to give you reverence, waqar, and glory and izzah and honor, then you have to go through the process of developing yourselves in every phase of human existence. Once you do that, then you're okay. So the Sahaba knew, understood that we have to go through this phase of life, so they were happy. They had no problems waiting. In fact, they wanted to die. They're eager to die because they wanted to meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So likewise here with the Nuh alayhi salam is telling his people that if you want the glory that you're seeking, then you have to go through the mill. You have to go through the human process. You're human beings, so you have to go through the human process. If you're not willing to do that, then you'll be childish and you'll behave like brats. And then you'll destroy yourselves and you'll destroy the world in the process of seeking the immediate, the ajil. Anyway, this Nuh alayhi salam is now informing people of the realities of life in this universe, in this world. MashaAllah, alhamdulillah. Anyway, we'll stop here for today. Nuh alayhi salam will continue with his dawah, and we'll talk about it later, inshallah. جزاكم الله خير. سبحان الله وبحمده سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله.